Evening, everyone. It is 6:06, and this is your closing comment for this Wednesday night, video number 1966. So today was Fed Day, and all of the numbers that came out in and around Fed Day were actually pretty benign, but the one that most people really seized on was the quarterly numbers from the Fed for raising money. And that number came in lighter than expected. And so, you know, when they didn't raise rates, which nobody expected them to, and then the statement was kind of benign, and then the press conference was nothing overwhelming. The market, continued to take off and move higher. Um, the Dow was up about 220, Nasdaq up 210, which was the leader, up 1.65%. S&P up 44, 1%. The Russell was up 0.45%, just $7.45. And the Dow Jones Transport's up 124, up 0.9%. Advanced declines were 2 to 1 today, but over on the NASDAQ, they were 11 for 10, which is not very impressive. I was kind of surprised that the volume came in at only 4.5 billion, considering the amount of distance that we covered as many times as we covered it during the day, from lower this morning to higher, back to lower, and then back to higher, and a couple of kind of short term downdrafts and updrafts. And so it was a very interesting day, and in a lot of stocks, very constructive. Um, a couple that we had news on yesterday that continued to the downside, unfortunately. We had Paycom, which this morning, when I mentioned it was down 91, it continued further down and actually closed 150.69, down 94 and change, or 38%. Um, and we also had Match, which was a miss, 29.29, down 531, or 15%, and Estee Lauder, another Kramer favorite, 104.51, down 24 and change, or 18%. And in point of fact, that stock has come down a lot further than today's action. Let me take a quick look here uh, and see where we came from. This stock at the beginning of last year was 372. So 100 looks a little on the skittish side. Another one like that, WeWorks. This company is going bankrupt yet again. I mentioned it this morning. Um, and the stock today closed at 100. Pardon me, 100, $1.21, and just a month and a half ago it was reversed 1 for 40. So that means that WeWorks, which came down from a $47 billion market cap to under 110 million, continued lower, and today, without that reverse, closed the equivalent of 3 cents. AMD went the other way. After being up and down yesterday afternoon after their numbers. This morning, when we talked about it, it was roughly unchanged. Really wasn't doing a whole lot. Let's see. AMD was about 98. Managed to close 108.04. That was up 954 on the day, so over 10% or around 10%. After the close, we had Qualcomm with a beat, Dash with a beat, EA with a beat, and the big winner was Roku with a big beat. It had closed 59.70, up 13 cents, got as high as 71 and a half. The last is 69 and a half, and that's up almost $10, 16%. But that's another one you have to remember that at its peak was 490. So even with today's up $10, it's still down 85% off the high. The Qualcomm closed just under 111, up 2, got up as high as 116 and change. Last is 114.60. That's up 560 or 5%. DoorDash closed up 95 cents at 75.90, got up to 84, last 81.35, up 640 or 8.5%. And EA, Electronic Arts, closed down a penny at 123.78, immediately rose to 133, last is 131, and that is up $7.21 or 5.8%. Tomorrow at 8:30, we have initial claims, continuing claims. Nothing is overwhelming in the expectations there, or versus the ADP numbers, which are already out. And we also have third quarter productivity and unit labor costs. Those are all at 8:30. At 10 o'clock, we have September factory orders, and at 10:30 we have weekly nat gas inventories. The weekly crude inventories was a slight build of 774,000 barrels. Last week, I think it was 1.17 of a build. The chart on the screen is the oil. It continued lower today after trying the high side. Let's just see if this was a higher high or not. Yesterday's high was 83.37. Today's high was 83.42. So slightly higher high and lower low, closed pretty close to the low, 80.77 currently. That's up 30 cents. These markets have just reopened again, but we're pretty much right on this red line, which is the 100-day moving average. The 200-day is right here. All of this support between 80 and, let's call it, 78 or so, again coincident to that 200-day moving average, as well as the Department of Energy, not the government for the Strategic Petroleum Preserve, but in point of fact, the Department of Energy said that they are going to be buying oil in the open market. They mentioned this about 2.5 weeks ago, around the 79 area. So that should put a little bit of a bottom here. Um, on the relative strength, we're already back pretty close to the lows that we've rallied from. This would actually be really nice if it held today's low, because we have a low, a higher low, a higher high, another higher low, and if we turn back to the upside, the possibility of a higher high. As far as the rest of the futures, nat gas was down a couple of cents. Gold was down 6.5 after yesterday's reversal. Did not follow through on the downside too much. And silver down 16 cents at 22.79. Bitcoin up $60. The dollar up 22 cents. And the bonds up a full point after being down. Let me show you that one, because we're long that, and we have expiring options for this week. Oh, it's up another 20 basis points here. This is a very clear breakout. from the recent little consolidation. Uh, this is today's move, and we're actually, let's see, today's high during the day was 111.06, and right now we are 111.02. So it wouldn't take much to make a higher high, higher low in here. I expect this to extend up to this about 112 area. I'd like to see it happen in the next day or two so I don't have to roll these forward and we could just stay in them. All right, folks, I'll be back first thing in the morning. Have a good evening.